How to successfully pass an interview at Microsoft? Well, let me tell you my story. You know how oftentimes you get an opportunity when you don't expect it? That's exactly what happened to me. And you know how a lot of times people say, hey, networking is everything? But what does it actually mean? Does it mean you just send a bunch of emails and messages via LinkedIn? Do you just go to events and try to connect with as many people as possible? There's much more than that. In my case, my dear friend called me and she said, hey, Ali, there's an opportunity within my organization on another team where they are looking for an additional product manager. So this is how I got a referral. But the referral wasn't just through the program of the entire company. It was actually direct connection where she took my resume and sent it to the director. This is the best case scenario you can ever get. And the more experienced you become as a product manager, people know about you, people know about your work, and hence you're going to get all these opportunities. Usually, when you go to interviews, you start with the recruiter, then you get through some team members. And in companies like Google and Meta, oftentimes you go through engineers and some product managers who don't necessarily work with you later. Only at the end of the interview cycles, you get to the hiring manager and to your actual team who you're going to be working with. In my case, I first talked to the director. After that, I got the recruiter to talk to about compensation and my skills. Now, these situations will happen to you if you are A, working for a startup and the team is small, or B, you're so experienced that people know your value already. Compared to Meta, where you can have an interview with an engineer and he or she will be asking you about the architecture and expecting a lot more technicalities, with Microsoft, it's not always the case. Business product management still applies at Microsoft, but of course, because Copilot is the driver for every product, you should be playing with LLMs, you should be playing with AI agents. The products stay as they are, but you just add in AI and try to 10x the speed and productivity of each product. With that being said, if we go back to networking portion, I would recommend for you to build connections with people who are in your field. They might be your mentors and motivators. They might be on the same level as you are. And basically you help each other out. And the next thing is you need to be able to show your projects, your products. So whether it is GitHub account where you can show some of your projects, or maybe you have a website where you can show pieces of what you've built before, whether it's with teams or by yourself. I know that some are within the company, so you can't show much, but even if those are B2C or B2B demos, that is already useful. Writing articles is very, very helpful because you're showing your expertise. And so before you get into the interview, usually you're being scanned and people can see that you know your stuff. If you don't have 10 or more years of experience as product manager, you can definitely showcase your knowledge with the help of social media today. Even if you start a YouTube channel, that's also one way to do it. Another small recommendation is I would ask you to take a few minutes to meditate right before the session, the interview starts, so that you are a bit more relaxed, very energetic in a happy kind of way, not in a jittery kind of way. Don't drink coffee because it's gonna get you up high there and it will translate as anxiety, which you do not want. Before answering questions that are technical or just you need to build out some platform, some solution in your interview, take some time. Be okay to ask more questions because if you're building assumptions, that's a first red flag for the interviewer. I think a lot of people on YouTube and everywhere else talk about the fact that you want to research the company, see their mission, what they're up to these days, and kind of talk to that. I agree, but additionally, almost nobody talks about the fact that you can build some sort of solution and think through some of the problems they have in advance. I recall when I had an interview with Google and I really wanted to get into YouTube product. and I would build some of the solutions before I had the conversation. I really dove into podcasts, how podcasts can be improved at Google, with the help of YouTube as well. And so when I got there, it was a really good experience because, again, I had really good examples. I've done my homework, and I really was speaking to something I'm passionate about. So try to see before the interview with Microsoft, what are the products that you really like or you think need some help and have a lot of opportunity, and don't talk about it in a like super negative way, because these people have been working on it, and a lot of times they do know the areas of opportunities. But you can talk about what you're passionate about and what research you have done, showing that you know how to help them. This will usually allow them to speak about the product and their pains and gains in the interview, which is them investing time and energy into the conversation. If they did that, then they will remember you. At Upskill PM, we go through different interviews with different companies. And so let me know if you want to know more tips for Microsoft interview and other companies in the column below. DM, and I will prepare a new one.